not be in favor of changing the rules, indicating she would not be in favor of changing the rules in dealing with these two pieces of legislation.
Look, I think that everyone is going to have to take a hard look at where they want to be at this moment in history, as we're looking at efforts across the country to prevent people from being able to exercise their fundamental rights. Go ahead.
You heard it right. They want to prevent people from expressing or from having rights, just fundamental rights.
Yeah,
it's not edited. That's what she said. It's kind of crazy.
They call it Freudian slips, like when you say something wrong, like Bill Gates saying he wanted to bring down the population of the world by introducing vaccines into foreign countries, and it's like, oh, that's a Freudian slip, he meant to say something else, he just said the wrong thing. It happens so often nowadays. I'm like, it's either a Freudian slip or it's the truth, and they just don't care anymore. And I'm starting to think they don't care anymore.
Well, it's almost like they're starting to realize the fact that people don't agree with them. People are not on their side, and the people that were supporting them are now trending away from them. And it is what it is, and I think they're beginning to accept that fact.
I hope so. Man. Things gotta change.
It's just kind of crazy, man, that like whenever it comes to this COVID thing, whenever it comes to this administration, anything that you talk about, it seems scripted. I actually just came across a video of a doctor saying that the vaccine, this is a man that has been working since the beginning of this pandemic, and this man said that the vaccine only prevents you from getting COVID for 8 weeks. Now, let me go ahead and show you guys this clip real quick, and you guys can tell me what you think. I mean, it's...
I had COVID at some point.
Yeah.
I've got antibodies.
Yeah.
I've been working on COVID ITU since the beginning. I have not had a vaccination. I do not want to have a vaccination. The vaccine's reducing transmission only for about 8 weeks with Delta. With Omicron, it's probably less. And for that, I would be dismissed if I don't have a vaccine.
Okay, he said that the vaccine is reducing transmission for about 8 weeks. And then after that, probably less for Omicron. So it's just like they're now in the 3rd booster. Israel is on their 4th booster. How often do we have to take these vaccines? And are they going to tell us eventually? They asked for 75 years. We were talking about that in the first episode. When are they going to tell us the truth? When are they going to stop hiding the actual truth?
They never will. And I always come down to, people, I feel like on the left, people on the left and right have their different flaws, right? One of the left flaws that I perceive is that they have this ability, they accept anything that authority throws at them, whether it's a doctor, person in a white coat, or presidential, or, it's like anything that they say, they take it as gospel and they run with it, and there's no turning back whatsoever. So you could have someone else who's maybe less authoritative, but, just as intelligent or even more so, speaking up on their position on this. And for some reason, the left just will not accept it because they're not at the right position of power. I just started watching Don't Look Up today, and I know from what I hear that it's mocking all sides, and then I also hear it's primarily mocking the right because of the way they downplay things and the ignorance of things. But the left does it too. Whatever it may be. It goes both ways. And 8 weeks, that's so ridiculous. And if you look at the behind the scenes on that, yet again, 75 years, things covered up. 8 weeks. I mean, who's making money off this? Look at the motives. Who can make money off of every 8 weeks somebody's supposed to get a booster, or a vaccine? If if doctors are now saying that efficacy is dropping, and it's constantly dropping, even the CEO has to change what he says, how ethical, how long it's in effect for every time he gets on the news, and it changes all the time. This is what I love about the right, and that's, I think, the sense that we're going to win eventually is because the left is eventually going to get called out on their BS, because everything nowadays is video documented. It's on the internet for everyone to see. So screw these guys, man, and trying to give us vaccines all the time. You know, 8 weeks.
I think that
I got it. I got over it, and I'm good to go.
I think that one thing is gonna happen is, what they don't realize is making a mistake and taking accountability for it. Then you give people a chance to forgive you, to say, okay, then if you're agreeing to making a mistake, then let's move forward and fix the mistake, correct? But they're not taking any accountability for anything. That's the problem that I think it is. There's COVID response or immigration response. There, Afghanistan. Anything that you talk about, and you know what? I don't have it up, but I saw a graph the other day of money printed in the U.S. and apparently since 2020, late 2020, the U.S. has printed the most money in history.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the graph in front of me, so I'm not gonna talk numbers, but it just means that either the past administration or this administration is just printing out money, and what does that do? That devaluates the dollar nationwide. So that could be a very big problem. They were also bragging about the stock market, and now you actually see a year after they took after presidency that the stock market is beginning to fall and it's beginning to take a toll. It's beginning to show the high prices, the high material prices, the inflation, and everything that's really going on. Also, what I think, one of the things that really bothers me is how much, if you watch mainstream, how much you have seen Pfizer on TV for the past year. Since this COVID thing started, even kind of before, you will start to see it a little bit more. It's almost, I don't want to sound super controversial here, but it's almost like they knew that this was happening. And now you see it on late night shows. You see Pfizer name after your news segment. You see it everywhere. And now it seems like they're starting to target kids too. And to me, that's a big problem.
I mean, you're right. Absolutely. And you can look up, anybody could look up, Google it, YouTube it, however you got to do it. But you can definitely look up the amount of Pfizer commercials. And this show brought to you by every left hand news, politics, whatever it may be, left hand. It starts and ends with this episode brought to you by Pfizer, blah, 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 right? I mean, you know, that's something, it's unignorable, right? Anybody can look up this information, look up the way it's come about. I always think, there's an enemy out there who's looking to kill, steal, and destroy, right? As a Christian perspective on the situation. I think they like to mock and laugh at us. And so they'll just put that up in front of everything. CNN, hey, here are the new numbers. Here's our board of numbers. Here are the amount of people infected. Here are the amount of people dead. Here are the amount of people dead worldwide. Here's the rate of escalation, blah, blah, blah. Like they're putting you in fear mentality mindset. And then between every episode of, hey, these are the top 10 reasons you're going to die today, right? Putting everybody into fear and shock and like quivering up in little balls. And please tell me how to authoritate me, daddy, right? These people are just weak and pathetic. And then you have, these Pfizer commercials right in between everything else. And everyone's just like sheep, watching along going, they're there to help me. They're there to keep us informed. So they make sure to put their commercials on all these, platforms, which are definitely pushing us to get that vaccine. So what's the downfall of putting the commercials there, and what's the benefits of putting commercials there? It's obviously to get more sheep injected with whatever they want. I'm not saying vaccine's good or it's bad, although the efficacy by the CEO is changing constantly. What I'm saying is we need to look beyond that and look at the truth of everything. And it's just a bad joke. It's all a joke, and it's all at the expense of these people who are just lining up to get these shots. And the companies, they're making billions off it. They're making profit, buddy. So, it's just going to continue that way.
Yeah, man, I totally agree with you in that, and I think that they just have too much power, too much money, and they're on TV way too much. Even on YouTube now, you see them on left. You can the thing about nowadays is you can really tell if someone's left wing and someone's right wing but no one really recognizes the fact that when you're in the middle. And I just feel like most of these mainstream medias are on the left, and that also opens up a door for Pfizer to jump in there and make some easy advertisement. I think a lot of their focus is kids nowadays, and that really worries me because there's not, from what I know, there's not enough studies to really make a case on vaccinating these kids. You already heard, most people know already that the Supreme Court denied the mandates. So I think that one of the next cases that's coming up is the mandate of vaccination on these kids. First of all, most kids aren't even at risk. I know that I have a nephew, and I've done some research too. Also, I feel like they started to target gaming more and more and more, because that's where kids are. You know, you hear about Fortnite, you hear about Call of Duty, you hear about Apex. Those are all games, and those are all largely made up of kids, of teenagers. And it seems like now they moved on to big YouTube channels like G4. And I'm pretty sure that everyone has seen the rant that G4 has let their company put out there, and it's obviously a big mistake. We've already seen this woke movement put a lot of companies out of business, if not really kind of just push their viewership away, and it seems like that's going on with G4. I'm gonna play a clip really quick for those of you who haven't seen it. It's just gonna be a really short clip. You guys can watch the whole thing on YouTube, but yeah, here it goes, guys. Just no,
You can link it in the description.
It's a little bit brutal.
I love Red Dead Redemption 2. I think it's probably my favorite. Good. Stop right there.
Okay,
you need to have
she talks about how much she loves the game, and this and that. Okay, women, that's fine. They like gaming. It doesn't matter. Gaming's for everyone.
Yeah, who cares,
kids,
man?
It doesn't matter. We don't care. And just to let you know, anyone who's a gamer, anyone who's game, knows that some games, the lobbies are just toxic. So if you don't want to hear it, just turn off your voice chat. As easy as that.
Actually about game design versus immersive experience and comparing the Red Dead Online multiplayer experience versus the solo player one. But I actually want to talk about something so much more important than Red Dead Online.
So she used Red Dead Redemption, I believe, to kind of clickbait it. And then she moves on forward. I'm going to play the video next, but she moves on to just talk about this topic.
Sexism in gaming. In joining G4...
Sexism in gaming.
This is not where I thought we were going, but I'm here.
I had no idea.
I'm listening.
Yeah. In joining G4, I was ecstatic to be part of something that I grew up watching as a child. But every time G4 is brought up in various channels, even in this YouTube channel, we have the chat in front of us. I can see you. Without a doubt, there will be backlash because I'm not as bangable as the previous hosts.
Okay.
Okay,
just like she said that. All right.
So unfortunate, the life.
Well, real quick. She says, basically, people don't have to dislike me because I'm not as bangable as the next host. Just because you're good looking doesn't mean that people like to watch you. You have to have a certain character. You have to have something, man. You really well, I mean,
a charisma.
Something.
An interesting personality.
Exactly. Yeah, I will say that, good looking people you see them more throughout social media, these big names and all that. But that doesn't mean that they don't work hard. That doesn't mean that they don't know what comes with the turf. You know what I'm saying? Am I explaining myself, or am I just kind of going off topic?
I mean, I get it. My point about the whole thing is these people on the left, they always have to have an issue with everything. Otherwise, their lives are meaningless. And the problem is these people on the left, they're so void of I always call it destiny, but it's like that motive to get up daily, like a passion, a desire, a thing that keeps them going. And they're devoid of this. And what they focus on to create an existence for themselves, a motive for them to get up daily, is they have to have issues that they have to overcome, and they have to take battles that they have to take on to prove their point and their value in existence. And nobody gives a shit. If you're a gamer, I've been a gamer since I was young. I've been in the Call of Duty, lobbies that talk the worst kind of trash possible. And it's always a meme nowadays that young kids wouldn't survive the Call of Duty, lobbies back then, or the Halo lobbies back then. I mean, they were great because you got to talk as much crap as you
Modern
wanted
Warfare
to.
2 was brutal.
It was so brutal. But you loved it. It was part of the game. If you did good, you talked trash. If you did bad, you talked trash. It was fun, no matter what. And you didn't matter. You didn't know what was on the other end of that microphone, but you just talked trash the way you wanted to. Nowadays, these people can't handle anything. They need to find trouble. They need to find issues. They need to whine about things. And that's what she did. She could have just kept pressing forward and just like ignored the haters and just like, hey, I have a job. I have a passion. I have a job, which is presenting video games. I have a passion, which is video games and exploring the fun within them and being able to present that to people. Instead, she said, I have a job and a passion. And by the way, I hate everyone for disliking, whatever she has to say about it. They made it about them, and that was their downfall. They're losing viewers, they're losing subscriptions, and people don't like that, especially Zennials and gamers. Gamers like get it. If you're in a lobby of gamers, like I feel like they're the most salt of the earth people because they can talk trash and they can take trash, and no matter what skin color, no matter what sex, everyone talks trash on each other. And then at the end of the day, you're stronger for it and you don't care. Like you just have fun.
You just
You talk trash with somebody,
exactly.
you laugh. Yeah, exactly. You move
It's
on.
like
It's next
sports.
lobby. Here we go.
It's like sports. You see people. It's even worse than sports because in sports you're in person, and you see all these people like fighting each other at the end of the game and everything. When it comes to gaming, you see like let's just say whenever they have a Call of Duty event where you have Dr. Disrespect, Shroud, all these big gamers. At the end of the day, yeah, they rage and everything, but at the end of the day, it's a friendly handshake, and everyone is happy. Yeah, everyone is happy that person won. Because that's what they love to do. And not only that, it's more of a I get it. Emotions run wild. But it's more of a kid-friendly thing. And back to the kid-friendly thing, they're trying to target kids. I've seen it, especially now with G4. G4 is a huge channel. As far as I'm aware, they're one of the biggest gaming channels.
I grew up watching them, man.
Exactly.
I mean, I spent every waking moment on that channel watching it, watching every update, watching every video game. It didn't matter if I liked the game or not, the producers or not. I was watching it. So yes, it's absolutely for you.
You know what worries me a little bit about them targeting gamers is that there are certain people who fall back on gaming because they don't have as big of social life as others.
Right, it's their escape. It's their joy, their happiness, man.
Is their escape. And not only that, but I feel like some of these people are easy targets to just because all they want to do is express themselves, is be themselves. And they feel like sometimes gaming is the only way that they can do that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's terrible. I also, now that we're back on the YouTube topic, I also feel it's terrible. Now you can only see the likes on a video. You can't see the dislikes. So yeah, you go in the comment section, it's all negative, but now you cannot see the dislikes. To me, I'm not a leftist person. I lean a little bit more right. But to me, that's a huge problem, man, because the whole fact, there's people that look at the likes and the dislikes, and then they're like, it kind of alters their view on certain things. Like, let's say you really agree with someone's topic, and then you go on the YouTube video and you look up that person, and then you see a lot more dislikes than likes, and you're gonna be like, whoa, maybe I'm not looking deep enough into this person or into this topic. Am I wrong?
No, so it's funny because there's the meme going around like good luck finding a good guide. Now that the dislikes are gone, you can't tell. And it's like, it's like a vote of society, right? Like in general, we all agree that whatever topic we're looking at, whatever we're looking into, if the likes are more than dislikes, then we can all generally agree that whatever was being presented was informative and exactly what we were looking for. If we happen to type up a set of words, gaming chair review, right? And then you see a video and it's got like 10 billion likes and 3 dislikes, and it's like, well, man, that guy must have a fair view and presentation of gaming chairs. I definitely want to check that one out. But now when you go gaming chair reviews and all of them just show the likes, and you're like, well, I don't know who's most informative, who's well informed, who did a broader spectrum of like reviews than everyone else. I don't know who presented it the best. I'm just going to click around and maybe I can find it. But the thing is ever since this administration took over and the views and the like to dislike ratio took a plummet, and the comment ratio, the commenting positive to negative comments took a huge downfall, switching from Trump to Joe Biden, that's when everything changed. And we all know that big tech's in with politics on the left, and they're trying to support their characters, their players, and they're trying to lift them up and elevate them and present them in a way where people cannot perceive them in a negative fashion. In other words, when Joe Biden's presidency is going on and there's 40,000 dislikes to 2,000 likes on every mainstream channel, well, they can't get their agenda across. They can't get their presentation across of their minority manipulating the numbers and the visibility of what's true. So eventually they got rid of the dislikes, and then they also got rid of comments and started deleting comments and started just flat out blocking all ability to comment. So screw YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, I know you like him, and I know we've talked about him last time. I have not always been his biggest fan. I really don't care for the guy, but of recent, I've kind of been changing my opinion on him. Joe Rogan. So, right, he split off from YouTube. He did a big deal with Spotify. He moved over there. He deleted some videos along the way. So I was immediately against him, and I was against the movement. And I thought it was another way of, mass media having their grips on what people can and cannot perceive. But as of recent, he has been a great man who's trying to reveal truth. He's not saying he's on the right. He honestly dislikes the right, and we don't agree with him at all. And me being Christian, right, we don't agree with him on a lot of topics, but I see where he's coming from and I can understand where he's going. And of recent, he's been speaking a lot of truth, and that's what he aims for. He is the average Joe. That's why he's Joe Rogan. But I've now like that he's at Spotify, because now Spotify's backing him up, because he's been bringing on some controversial figures. I know we talked about it last time. Dr. Malone, everyone hates this guy. They've tried to get him off the air. They've said 270 doctors are trying to get Joe Rogan removed, when really they're just people with doctorates, and they're not actually physical physicians, doctors treating people or trying to help people.
Most of them are teachers.
They're teachers. Yeah, anybody who has a doctorate. Can you sign this letter to get Joe Rogan removed? Sure. Like, I'm on the left and I agree with everything we need to say. So let's get Joe Rogan removed. Screw those people. But also, like, big props to Joe Rogan and to Spotify for presenting the truth, because they're the true heroes right now. I'm constantly worried for Joe Rogan of recent, because I'm pretty sure he's going to get killed off. He's going to get whacked by one of the Clintons or something.
I don't think so, man. He has very powerful people around him. Joe Rogan's a very powerful man.
I hope so.
Joe Rogan's a very powerful man. Dude, Dana White has his back. Like, Dana White is a very powerful man as well. And I'm very happy that not only a lot of fighters, but you see a lot of rappers, a lot of African-American rappers coming out and speaking. They admit it's not wrong that you voted for Biden. It's wrong to not acknowledge that he's having a terrible first year. That's my thing. No, for real.
No one can admit truth.
Exactly. We cannot criticize. It's me like telling someone to place a bet on a team and then they lose. All right, I couldn't see the future. You supported what you believed in, and I think that a rightful person will respect that. So therefore, I don't think that I see a lot of Democrats that they always blame people who have different ideals, not even right-wing ideals, but different ideals. They blame them as Trumpists, as Republicans, and that's not right to do. So therefore, we shouldn't stick down to that level. We shouldn't do the same. I think saying it right now, if you voted for Biden, if now you disagree, then be honest with people. Okay, then you don't have to tell people that you voted for this man. You can just start disagreeing. It's okay to change up your beliefs. That's why some people believe in God, don't believe in God, and then later on believe in God, or whatever they end up believing in. That's why there's Democrats that have changed to Republicans and vice versa. It's not wrong to change your beliefs, and it's not wrong to recognize that a man is literally incompetent of running this thing. If you see this man, he can't, every time he starts any sentence, he slurs. And I see my 94-year-old grandpa, and I see that Biden's in the worst shape. So that can't be good. And, like I said, man, now they're targeting these kids. I think that's the main topic of this podcast. And I'm going to play here something that Andrew pulled up and shared with me. And I actually share this with my sister. She is in the medical field, and it's kind of scary that no one in the medical field can question anything. And they are giving,
not only can they not,
they're giving these they're giving these regulations by politicians, not by actual scientists, but by politicians.
Not only are they given that by politicians, by mandate, right? They're forced to do certain things, or it's controlled information. The video that you're obviously, you're about to present, it's controlled information. What things are mainstream, what things aren't, what things the media headlines, clickbaity videos they want to put out there or not put out there. And even if you are in the medical field, let's say, and you wanted to do all the right things with all the most updated information that you could possibly get your hands on, and yet you're only presented with one half of the argument, then you're obviously going to move ahead with that one half of the argument, thinking that you are 100% correct and 100% doing the right thing, when it could be the exact opposite of the right thing to do. It's just you were not given the other half of the information. The other half could say, don't do this. Here's all the 100 million reasons why. And it's all legitimate, but presented only is the 10 reasons that you should. So go ahead. Let's check it out.
All right, guys. And I just want to highlight before I play it what you said. They are not giving us the right information. And with that being said, I'll play this clip.
So it's been over 9 months since she got her second dose. She can't walk. She's in a wheelchair. She has an NG tube for all of her nutrition. She has constant pain in her stomach, back, and neck. She was over there laying on chairs because she can't make it through this. She can't feel her legs, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. When she got her first dose, her reaction was typical. She had fever, body aches, and fatigue, and it went away in a couple days. When she got her second dose, she had immediate pain where she had gotten the injection, and the first thing she told me because her dad took her, was that didn't happen. That hurt way more than the first time, like enough to point it out. In less than 12 hours, she developed severe abdominal pain, horrible nausea, painful electric shocks on her spine and neck. Her hands were ice cold when you touched them. She had, and on her feet, pain all over her body. Her vaccine arm went numb. And I'm finding more and more stuff. You forget stuff because so much has happened to her. Like as I read through things, I keep redocumenting everything. She had chest pain, severe chest pain. The way she described it, it felt like her heart was being pulled out of her neck. Tachycardia that was actually seen on an EKG. And she was extremely dizzy, so she felt like she couldn't stand up. So those were her reactions. I just want to walk through, give you everybody a better idea.
All right, man. That's since when did we start testing on humans? Since when did we stop testing on animals and started testing vaccines and possible medication on our kids. And my question is, and I know a lot of parents are going to disagree with me on this one, but what the mentality of a parent is to allow their kid to go through a vaccine trial when there's not even any studies done on kids, and everything marks to kids not even being vulnerable to this. Any variant, doesn't matter, Omicron or Delta, it doesn't matter. So why?
It's crazy, and it's also crazy. I mean, obviously, these videos we're gonna have linked in the description. You can watch them fully. That was just a short clip of everything that she's gone through. She also goes on to talk about how no one's contacted her. No one from the VAERS system, CDC, no one from Pfizer has contacted her to follow up. Hey, we need to include those warnings, those signs, symptoms, the things that you're going through, the things that you're experiencing. We need to put that on the label. What percentage of people are actually coming down with this? It's ridiculous. And so with every vaccine, there is a small portion of society that is going to be susceptible to it, because not everyone's genetically made up the same, right? Not everyone genetically grows the same muscles or same bones or same facial hair or whatever it is, right? Everyone's built different. And so for every vaccine, there's a portion of society, whether it's 1%, 5%, 0.3%, 80%, right? We don't know how much they're going to be affected by these vaccines, and it's a risk. You take your kid in, you don't know your genetic makeup or the risks, they're vaccine affected. That's the unfortunate risk of it all, but generally it's going to be a good thing for the population, right?
One of the things
like you said, it's kids right now. These kids are not susceptible to it. There's no deaths of children from COVID vaccines. If there are, there's like a shit ton of comorbidities, and we've seen it all. CDC now says that 75% of the people who died with COVID had up to generally four other comorbidities listed on their death. So
How long has Joe Rogan been saying that?
Yeah, he's been saying that forever, and he keeps harping on it because he's trying to get that truth out there. And if he says it enough, it's going to start clicking for the people on the left. But our kids are not at risk; they're not a danger. That young girl is now had her life ruined, and for who knows how long. Hopefully, she recovers, but at this point, I don't think she will. I hope it does. I hope things do turn around. But she took a risk for nothing. There's no reward. What? Oh, you didn't get sick from Omicron. You weren't going to get sick from Omicron anyway. You weren't going to die from Omicron anyway, but now your life is ruined. Now, because that statistical data is not being put into the actual list of data, like how often is this going to happen? What's the percentage of people it's going to happen to? How many people is it going to affect because we never factored it in? So at the end of the day, we could be looking at a percentage like 50 to 80, 90% of young people because, we just didn't take that into effect. All this stuff, I always say the right's always recruiting because the left is always booting people out. I bet this woman, she was up for it. She was down for it, right? Let's get in there. My child wants the vaccine. I want her vaccinated. It's a win-win for everybody. She can be a test pilot for this. She can save the nation. And now she's in front of Congress telling them, oh, by the way, we jumped in line to get this done and we got screwed, vaccine injured, and nobody cares. One issue has been drawn up about this, no compensation. My life and our life is ruined, and they've just moved on, and we're just a statistical number, and they've marked it up as a stomach ache, a stomach issue. All right, I'm done. You go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, man. Nobody covers it.
It's crazy.
All you really hear on the news. I was actually watching it today, actually on the Spanish news. Once they're done talking about COVID, the next article is COVID. Once they're done talking about that article, the next one's about COVID. They always talk about infections. They always talk about this and that. It's always COVID, man. And then after they're done talking about COVID, they talk about celebrities, man. One of the things that really bothers me is how a lot in schools, media, and Pfizer, they're literally referring to these kids as heroes for taking the vaccine when we already know it's not going so well. So I see a problem there. I also see a problem with parents vaccinating their kids and telling them that they're going to be the heroes of the future. That shouldn't be the case, man. Let's close it out here. I want to hear your final thoughts on this. Final thoughts on everything that we really talked about. Go ahead, man.
So closing tonight, what we can see from the left and the mainstream is that they're failing right now. Their numbers are critically down, and maybe we'll talk about that next time. We'll bring up some of the ratings and information that we have now. Is that the left is losing incredibly, just like you said. Like everything is, COVID, and then celebrities, which celebrities are all about, vaccines, and
well, not all of them. Not all of them. That's the thing. Just like I mentioned, earlier.
There's always going to be shit that, like, no matter what.
And
down with the ship.
I'm telling you, especially from what I've seen, especially a lot of them in the hip hop game, and African Americans are beginning to use their platforms to just express I wouldn't say they're turning their backs on Biden, but they're definitely talking about the disapproval and the things that they feel that this president hasn't done. And a lot of it is just COVID. We're going on 2 years, man. Nothing's been done. Not to bring Trump up, but he said that Biden administration wouldn't have been able to handle the first hit. And look at this, I think he was right. Maybe it's about time that we try the other side of the road, because it doesn't seem like we're getting anything done in this. And it is what it is. And, any final thoughts?
Yeah. So, I mean, with that, exactly, I think the left is losing. And I think the only reason that they're staying afloat is because the left side donors are keeping them afloat.
They still have,
and even those news stations, they have the power, they have the money, they have the influence to keep things going. Bill Gates has donated $230 million to CNN and other left-hand networks that are just losing people constantly. He's keeping it all afloat. They don't care that they're losing. They just want to get their message out there, and they want to destroy lives along the way. And Bill Gates is okay with that too. He wants to depopulate the earth. So he wants to kill you. He wants to kill me. He wants to kill everyone except for himself, because he's so grandiose and rich. But yeah, that's my thought on it. Is
we're using this product every day. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Thanks again to my co-host Andrew. It's controversially outspoken. You guys have a good night.
Peace out.